no judgment. Thou art fled to brutish beasts, and men have lost their reason. This particular statement is very profound, very emotional, because Brutus says, sorry, Mark Antony says, judgment, where are you? Justice, where are you? You are supposed to be here. You are supposed to avenge the death of Caesar, and yet you're not here. Justice is being personified over here. And Mark Antony says, where is justice? Justice is torn away by animals, brutish people, people who are like animals. Justice is lost. There is no civilization here. There are no people here. And even justice has no place here in this world of animal like humans. And then he says, and men have lost their reason. Human beings have lost their ability to judge. Otherwise, they would have never believed that Julius Caesar is a bad person. They would have never been convinced by Brutus that the death of Julius Caesar was necessary. Bear with me. My heart is in the coffin, there with Caesar, and I must pause till it comes back to me. And at this point, Mark Antony gets very emotional. Maybe he actually got emotional, or maybe he pretended to be emotional. It doesn't matter, but he is full of tears, he's upset, and he tells the people, I'm sorry. My heart is not here in me. My emotions are not here in me. They are in the coffin of Julius Caesar. My heart is dead, just like Julius Caesar. I can't feel any other emotion other than pain. And so, I'm sorry. I need to compose myself. I need to get back my rationale. And now you might ask, why did Mark Antony suddenly stop talking? Was he actually upset? No, he wasn't. Was he crying because he was overwhelmed with emotion? Not really. This is a juncture that Mark Antony very carefully planned so that his words would sink in. You know, we can't just keep on talking and talking and talking. It just bounces off the heads of the people. Sometimes you need to make a dramatic statement and just stop and let it sink in. Let the gravity of these statements hit the people. And that is what happens. Mark Antony doesn't stop because he was upset, because he was full of tears. He stops because he wants the people of Rome to understand what he has said, to realize what he has said, and to respond. And it works out. They respond. And the first one citizen says, methinks there is much reason in his sayings. Methinks there is much reason in his sayings. I think, methinks is an old-fashioned way of saying, I think what Mark Antony said is reasonable, it's logical. And someone else says, if thou consider rightly of the matter, Caesar has had great wrong. If this is correct, if what Mark Antony has said is correct, then what Caesar has suffered is a very big mistake. It's a great injustice done to Caesar. It needs to be avenged. And the third citizen says, as he masters, I fear there will a worse come in his place. If Julius Caesar was killed unjustly, then the person who is going to succeed Julius Caesar as the leader of Rome will be worse than he is. This particular statement lets us know that the people of Rome, the mob, now has misgivings about Brutus's innocence. They believe that Brutus is not who he says he is, that he is not a good person. And then the fourth citizen says, "Mark ye words, he would not take the crown, therefore 'tis certain he was not ambitious." Did you listen to what Mark Antony said? Julius Caesar did not take the crown, so how can you say that he wanted to become a king? Which person would refuse the crown if he wanted to become a king? That is like saying, if I did not want the cake, then why did if I wanted a piece of cake, then why would I refuse it? I mean, today we do that as a matter of polite courtesy, but back then the ordinary citizens wouldn't believe in such frivolities, and hence they say if Julius Caesar was interested in becoming the king of Rome, then he would have accepted the crown. And then Mark Antony clears his throat, pretends to wipe away his tears, and says something. And the people are so filled with emotion, with sympathy for what Mark Antony looks like. His eyes are red, his face is swollen, he's in tears. And the people sympathize him and they say, "Poor soul, his eyes are as red as fire with weeping. Look at Mark Antony, he's so upset, his eyes are red from all the crying. There is not a nobler man in Rome than Antony." And someone else says, "No one is better than Antony in Rome. No one is more honorable than Antony in Rome." And the other fourth citizen says, "Listen, Mark Antony is going to speak again." And now the people are convinced that what Mark Antony is telling them is the truth, and what Brutus had told them before is not. And Antony starts, "But yesterday the word of Caesar might have stood against the world. Now lies he there, and none so poor to do him reverence. Yesterday all Caesar had to do was say a word, and it would be done. He had to give a command, and people would listen to him. And today, no one is humble enough. No one considers themselves poor enough or sympathetic enough to support him as his body lies on the cold, hard floor. Yesterday, everyone respected him, and today, no one even cares about him. O masters, if I were disposed to stir your hearts and minds to mutiny and rage, I should do Brutus wrong and Cassius wrong, who you all know are honorable men." And now Antony indirectly reveals his plan. He says, "If my plan was to make everyone angry and turn you against the conspirators, then I would be doing major injustice to Brutus and the other conspirators who are honorable men." Now, this phrase, honorable men, is ironic. Mark Antony indicates pretty clearly that he doesn't believe that Brutus is an honorable man or the conspirators are honorable men. And when he says, if I start a revolution, if I turn a mutiny, then we would be hurting the conspirators. But they are good people. And now that the people know that they are not good people, this is exactly what they would want to do: turn against the conspirators. And this is exactly what Mark Antony wants them to do: turn against the conspirators. So he very cleverly introduces the idea of turning against the conspirators. But the beauty of the entire speech is that the people never realize that it was Mark Antony's suggestion to turn against the conspirators. No, they think that they started the mutiny, that they started the revolution. But actually, it was all premeditated by Mark Antony. And he says, But here's a parchment with the seal of Caesar. I found it in his closet, 'tis his will. Let but the commons hear this testament, which, pardon me, I do not mean to read. And they would go and kiss dead Caesar's wounds, and dip their napkins in his sacred blood. Yea, beg a hair of him for memory, and dying mention it within their wills, bequeathing it a rich legacy unto their issue. And he says, this is not all. There is something else that I want to tell you. Here is a parchment, a document that I found in Caesar's closet. Here is a document which is the will of Caesar. I'm not going to read it out to you, because if I read it out to you, you will realize how holy and how good a man Caesar was. And you would immediately jump at his body, dip your handkerchiefs in his blood, and take away parts of his body as relics. And when you are dying, you would leave these blood-stained handkerchiefs and parts of his body and his hair to your children as your legacy. And now, this particular statement might sound extremely weird to you. Why would anyone dip their handkerchiefs or pluck out a hair or nails or parts of body of a dead person? And now we need a little bit of religious and historical context. This story may be about an ancient Roman dictator, but it was written by Shakespeare in Elizabethan England. And in Elizabethan England, Christianity was the most popular religion. And in Christianity, there is a common belief that keeping an object that was used by a holy man, who is called a saint, keeping an object, maybe his a blood-stained handkerchief or his hair or a part of his clothing, is meant to have miraculous powers, magical powers that can cure you of anything and everything, that can bring you good fortune. And and this is what happens. Antony suggests that the people of Rome will take relics from the dead body of Julius Caesar. Now, in reality, this would have never happened because relics were not kept by ancient Romans. But you have to remember, this is written by Shakespeare, and hence he introduces a Elizabethan concept into an ancient Roman story. So when Mark Antony says that the people of Rome are going to take relics from the body of Julius Caesar, it's not historical. It's more of a Shakespearean element. People would take relics only from a holy person, and if the people of Rome take relics, it would mean that Julius Caesar was a holy person. And to be a holy person, one had to be very humble, very good, and very selfless. And the people are now curious. They want to know what is in the will. And they said, we will hear the will. Read it, Mark Antony. And all of the people demand, the will, we will hear the will. Now you may think, Mark Antony is going to read the will because all of the people have demanded that they read the will. But you know what makes people happy? Not doing what they want. You see, when you give someone something that they want, people lose interest very quickly. A child wants a candy. You give the child a candy, it will eat the candy, it's happy. It loses interest. A child demands for a candy, you deny the child the candy, and now its interest is piqued. It wants to know. It wants the candy and it will do anything to get it. Mark Antony does not read the will. Instead, he says, I have said too much. I should have not told you about this will, because if the conspirators come to know that I told you about the will, they are going to kill me. And now the people are truly curious. What is so important in the will of Caesar that the conspirators will at any cost try to protect it? try to prevent it from being exposed to the people. Antony says, "Have patience, gentle friends, I must not read it. It is not meet you know how Caesar loved you. You are not wood, you are not stones, but men. And being men, bearing the will of Caesar, it will inflame you and it will make you mad. 'Tis good you not know that you are heirs, for if you should, oh, what will come of it?" And he says, "Patience, people of Rome. I can't let you know what is there in the will because you're human beings. You're not wood or stones that do not feel any emotion. You're like human beings. And once you hear what is in the will, you will be consumed with so much emotion, so much sorrow, so much anger that you will do terrible things which I cannot allow to happen. And that is why I cannot tell you that Caesar has left all his property to you. He has made you his heirs." So, this is a very beautiful way of expressing the truth without expressing the truth. It is like saying, "I can't tell you, I can't tell you, I can't tell you that you have won the first prize." So you tell the truth without actually telling the truth. And that is what Antony says. "I can't tell you what is written in the will. I can't tell you what is written in the will because if I tell you what is written in the will, if I tell you that Julius Caesar has made you his heirs, that he has left all his property to you, you will be so upset and so angry." And indirectly, Mark Antony reveals the contents of the will. Not entirely, but just a little bit in order to keep the people even more curious and even more desperate for answers. The people demand, "Read the will, we hear it, Antony. You shall read us the will, Caesar's will. Tell us what's in the will, we want to know it." The people are curious now. What has Caesar left us? Obviously, these are poor people of Rome who can hardly afford their daily bread and water. They would do anything to get even a single denarius, a Roman coin. And Antony says, "Will you be patient? Will you stay a while? I've overshot myself to tell you of it. I fear I wronged the honorable men whose daggers have stabbed Caesar to fear it." He says, "I can't tell you right now. I have in fact made a mistake by telling you even about the existence of the will because I'm afraid that if I go against what the honorable men have told me to do, I don't know what is going to happen because they stabbed Caesar, and now if I make them angry, it's very possible that they will stab me too." And the people say the exact words that they want, Mark Antony wanted them to say about Brutus. They say, "They were traitors, honorable men. They were traitors, not honorable men. Stop calling them honorable men. Or read the will, read the testament." The people demand, they say, "Read the will, read the testament. Stop calling them honorable men because they were traitors and you don't have to do what they tell you." And this is exactly what Mark Antony wanted, and he successfully achieved it. This is called the power of good oration. So the next time you feel like, why do we need to learn English literature? Keep in mind, a simple sentence here and there can change the entire mindset of people. We'll come to know what happens to the people, to Rome, and to the history of this great empire in the next session. So, stay subscribed, turn on the notifications, like, share, and post a comment about what you felt was good and what you feel should be added so that we can take your suggestions and bring you a better version next time. Thanks.